And now, some quick thoughts from Man.
Well, I know we're all getting sick of Rona shit, so I felt it's time to hit you all up with a good case of the usual. And for those that are new, I'll break it down for you. This is where I give my initial impressions on shows I either missed or just felt didn't need a whole video dedicated to them. I even review some web series and pilots, so let's give our hands a good scrubbing so we don't catch the clap from Rona and dive right in. It's stupid, it's annoying, the characters are not very enjoyable, and can wear your nerves like a fresh cut suit. It has nice animation that is impressive some of the time, but it doesn't make up for its basic nothingness and pretty crap designs. Really, it's just a nothing series. It's practically dead in the water, and the more you waste energy getting angry at it, the more you increase its likelihood to get more seasons. I know it pretty much is a slap in the face of the franchise of Thundercats. Granted, the original series wasn't that good. The 2011 series was good, but sadly got axed off for the knockoff series Lego Chima. That's the sad part of it. It sucks we had to get this, but what can you do? It's how business is done, but guess what? This thing is not that popular. Just leave it to its own devices and pretend it doesn't exist. It feeds off of your negativity, and the more you give it, the bigger it grows. Just stop acting like it's that big a deal. Yeah, I get it recently had that pointless crossover with Teen Titans Go that was poorly made and had the gall to insult the critics like they normally do, but there's no reason to keep it in the conversation. Just put it out of your minds and pretend it doesn't exist. Otherwise, you'll be the reason its life expands past its expiration date. Just pretend it's not there. It's Peanuts. Can you really expect it to go wrong? It still has that simple charm Peanuts is known for, just with a greater emphasis on Snoopy. His bits have a nice humor to them that go about as well as you think. You'll have moments where you get a good chuckle and they're just fun to watch. The parts that focus on the gang can have good comedy to them as well. The gang is as fun as ever and keep things good and help break up watching Snoopy for too long. Granted, the episodes are only about 8 to 9 minutes, so there's not much to break up. Seriously though, it's the typical stuff from Peanuts that we've all come to love about the franchise. I'll admit it was a bit odd to see this on Apple's streaming service. You would think something like this would have settled on being a web series on YouTube or something, but hey, Apple TV probably can deal out those big bucks. I mean, of course they can. We've all gone into bankruptcy just trying to get a new phone from them. But I digress. If you like or love Peanuts, this series is right up your alley. This manages to work as a weird in-between for Simpsons and Family Guy, but in a good way. It has that crass humor that Family Guy would have, but it's downplayed and done in a more subtle way that you don't roll your eyes at. It's not disgusting, pretty much. Its art style can be what makes you think it's gonna be your typical adult series, but it holds itself back enough that it can have some pleasantness to it. It still can go balls to the wall on some jokes or plot lines. Hell, in a recent episode, the family went against some evil organization with a secret lair that had a self-destruct sequence. That alone tells you how bonkers it can get. The big thing that sets it apart is the family connection between the characters. You can get a good sense that even though they get on each other's nerves, they still look out for one another. They do have moments where one family member can be the antagonist to another's, but it's not done where you say, oh nope, I hate that character now. That character is officially dead to me. Granted, one episode got close with that by having Duncan's mom, Annie, putting some dumb tradition over her own son's reputation, particularly with his rep of being a virgin, but she thankfully does the right thing in the end, so it doesn't destroy her as a character. You could still have some respect for her because she does genuinely care for her kids. All the characters do have a good likability to them. Duncan is the teenage loser filled with angst. Annie is the mother who cares a lot, but is pretty much the one in charge. Jack is the dad that means well but is very misguided in his efforts to support his family. Kimberly is the sister that couldn't be bothered by her family's antics but loves them deep down. And Jing is that little sister who's meant to be adorable but gets some good lines in every now and then. It's a series that's not trying to be the next big thing, and honestly doesn't have to be. It works for itself and feels comfortable in its execution. To repeat my thoughts on Spy Kids the animated series, Cadet In Charge has the problem of the main character is way too annoying. She's too oblivious to others around her and kind of terrible with how she deals with people she considers her friends. She's just selfish, and it's just annoying to be around and watch for so long. Granted, it's not that long. She's so hyped up that it can be annoying just having to deal with her, even for just the 8 minutes that you have to deal with her. She honestly needs someone to offset her because of how over the top she is. Honestly, I could kind of see her more as a side character or more sidekick character. I couldn't see her as the main lead because it's like there's too much of her. It's just too much. Her little dwarf star friend really doesn't help the show either because he's pretty crappy with his attitude. He does certain things that make him seem pretty unlikable and pretty selfish. He even kind of coerce her into doing a lot of terrible things, so it's like, can I really relate to anyone here? The animation comes across as that standard Cartoon Network animation that, I'll be honest, is getting pretty played out right now. They really need a new animation style so people won't accuse them of just being lazy. And also shut down that stupid CalArts argument that was coined by a pedophile, by the way, but I digress. It honestly is one of the few Cartoon Network pilots that I'm not looking forward to more of. It just feels like there's not enough meat to it, or more or less the main characters are just too annoying and a whole series would easily wear on your nerves pretty fast. A damn good series with damn good story and characters. Rooster Teeth really wants to show how much effort they put into a series, and this one is no exception. You have a series about a robot apocalypse with a man who died and is practically brought back to life to lead the charge against it. Like, it basically writes itself with how deep it goes into the drama of it all, but it manages to not be a stick in the mud about it. It has moments where the characters can just have fun. You get a good sense of teamwork and camaraderie between all of them, but the show pulls you back into the reality once shit starts getting real, and you get a bit blindsided by it, which is by no means a bad thing. They get you invested, so when it pulls these 180s on you, it's more effective. You genuinely can feel the hurt, the pain, the double cross of it all whenever something bad happens. The show has these different elements to it that honestly you would think would crash and burn, but it manages to keep these things tight and consistent while having effective twists. I can't wait for the next season to finally hit. If you want great drama with good, likable characters, I say check it out. A Fox in Space definitely is something I didn't think I would want out of a Star Fox series, but now I know I want. It ironically is down to earth with how the characters talk to each other. It just has a bit of realism to it with how the characters interact that fits perfectly with the Star Fox franchise. Like, the characters have a bit of domestication to them where their job can feel a bit of a chore to them, and I enjoy that aspect of it. It just creates a great relatability to it all that I think even those that don't care for the space stuff could get into it because it has that feel of, yeah, I know what that's like. That's just something I feel is the strong point of this little fan project. If ever Nintendo actually decides to make a full Star Fox series, they should probably consider the writers on here for it. Now, it is a low-budget fan project made by a small team, so you can't expect too many new episodes too soon. You know, they don't have a lot of the budget to make sure this is something that's everlasting, and plus, they kinda have to be on their toes because Nintendo could be a stifler on this type of shit. The most they have is one full episode and a bunch of clips that I think connect to each other to make the second episode, but I really can't tell. They're just kind of randomized clips that don't exactly segue into each other too well. It's all on YouTube right now for you to watch, and I say as a Star Fox fan, it's definitely worth keeping up with. Splitting Time is definitely in the vein of works as a short, but a whole series could easily get boring as it goes. The characters work for this pilot, but aren't really engaging enough to warrant more episodes dedicated to them. They just don't have much going for them. They just seem too bare bones and basic. The idea of the kids' parents being divorced and living across different times could maybe work if the kids were made to have a bit of a reality to them. Like if they were a bit hurt by their parents being split up, They just seem too happy-go-lucky with it, but then again, that's why I'm saying it doesn't really seem like it would work as a series. Humor is just that same wacky zaniness you'd expect that feels too similar to a lot of other Cartoon Network shows. And bruh, the animation needs to be changed big time, particularly the art style. With most of these pilots looking so samey, it really puts you off to them. Cartoon Network needs more stuff that doesn't look like they occupy the same space as other shows. We need more differing variety of styles, otherwise more people are likely to tune out. I'm not trying to be harsh, but I do see too many shows on the network that aren't grabbing people's attention like they should be. But back to the subject at hand, Splitting Time isn't a bad pilot, but there's just not enough of it to warrant the green light. But I'll be honest, I kind of find that this has likely already been greenlit and is probably coming sometime later in the future. And I'm gonna be honest, I kind of see it crashing and burning. I'm just being real. And that's the end. Thanks for watching. Consider donating to my Patreon, join the Discord, and remember to wash your hands, and that toilet paper won't help you in this pandemic. And always remember, it's just a thought.